Hi, this is Measuring Statistics, Attitudes, and Anxieties, and I'm Doug Whitaker.
And I'm Aaron White.
It's worth noting that originally we had planned to have data to present from two different pilots of an instrument, but the larger pilot that includes the Statistics Anxiety Rating Scale was postponed because of the COVID-19. Um, in statistics education, there are two primary streams of research on affective constructs. There's research on attitudes that primarily uses the SATS 36 instrument, and there's research on anxieties that primarily uses the statistics anxiety rating scale, the STARS. Now, a few studies have used both instruments because they want to study both attitudes and anxieties, but very few studies report any information about the relationship between students' attitudes and anxieties as measured by these instruments. So we're not getting information about, say, the correlations between these constructs and these scales reported in the literature. Over the years, there's been a evolution in how we understand these affective constructs, and the gist of it is that there is some noted misalignment and ambiguity in both the attitude and anxiety literature. And so what the SATS 36 and STARS are measuring hasn't been reassessed recently. And the research questions for this study are: what are the anxieties and attitudes that students have? Were these affected by the COVID disruptions? And how does statistics anxiety fit into EVT, which is the theoretical framework for the SATS 36? And to answer that one, here we have the six SATS 36 scales and the EVT components that they map onto. Here we have the STARS scales, the six of them, with the anxiety components they map onto. Three of the STARS scales, the worth, computational self-concept, and fear of statistics teachers, are referred to as attitudes rather than anxieties now in the literature. And what I did is I went through the definitions of these constructs and compared them to the EVT and the SATS 36 constructs and color coded them to indicate similarities. And it seems that the worth scale and the value scale are both assessing utility value, computational self-concept, cognitive competence. They're both types of self-concept in EVT. And the fears and anxieties from the STARS, I believe that they are a type of cost within the EVT component. Now, that's not effort. I think effort is something different, but it's also a type of cost. So I think that the STARS and SATS 36, they both are assessing some type of components of similar or related constructs, more closely related than people have previously recognized. We collected data from 42 students in a second semester introductory statistics course, and we asked them to complete 19 Likert type items. Each item has a 9-point scale where higher scores, higher responses indicate more cost or a more negative attitude. Disaggregating the data based on whether students took the survey before or after the COVID disruptions, it seems that overall scale scores for the three scales are pretty similar between the before and after groups. So we're going to combine them into a single group of 42 students for the rest of the analysis.
Followed by the histograms of scale scores of task effort, emotional cost, and SOMAS cost, which are evenly distributed in comparison to the SATS warehouse pre and post effort that has a ceiling effect in their questions not noticed amongst ours. And lastly, we have the correlation plots among scales and among items, which is a strong positive correlation expected from cost constructs.
So in conclusion, students don't seem to have high cost or low cost perceptions. They seem to be sort of in the middle. And it seems like we might have some scales to use that don't exhibit ceiling effects, but we need to do more research, collect more information, and there's some ongoing work. If you download the supplementary files, there is some additional information about the constructs and definitions in the SOMAS project to get you going a little bit deeper. Thanks.